everybody, it's Jason Blah here, and now that my two obligatory informative videos are done for the day, it's time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. And today I thought I would chat about a video that my subscribers made me aware of, or awared me if we want to use a classic Blahism, that OmarIsuf did with Dr. Eric Helms, explaining why most supplements are useless, which I agree with. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. You know, what's interesting is you got guys like Dr. Helms, who, again, has his PhD in nutritional science and specialized in, he did his doctoral work on natural pre-contest bodybuilders, actually, which actually is really says a lot of negative shit about bodybuilding. Basically, I concluded from his doctoral work that if you can be in bodybuilding, you don't give a shit about your health, even as a natural, because the data was pretty damning. So that being said, when we look at all this, what's interesting is that over the years, as more and more research and meta-analysis has come out, you guys notice that Dr. Helms has pulled more and more supplements off his list of stuff that he thinks is reasonable. A lot of stuff has come off that list, hasn't it? You know, what I think is interesting is that he did talk about the research, and what's really funny is that he said, yeah, I mean, if you have a supplement that shows a negative effect, or you don't have meta-analysis showing that supplements work, multiple studies in which there are none that show a negative effect, only a handful that show no effect, and the majority of studies are showing a positive benefit, you shouldn't take a supplement. So we've got this right here. So basically that's saying you guys shouldn't buy Omar supplements, because Omar has pre-workouts, right? He has a pre-workout for sale. What's the study showing pre-workouts? Nothing. We don't have any serious studies conducted on pre-workouts showing that they produce any long-term results. Nothing. We only have one major long-term study on one of the biggest, most hyped up pre-workouts ever, and you know what it concluded? And that was craze. No benefit. Nothing. No benefit. A bunch of college students, they got no results from taking it when measured after 10 weeks. Pre-workouts are useless. I've said this for a very, very long time. In fact, I think they have a negative effect. And I think the negative effect of pre-workouts cancels out any additional training stimulus you seem to get from them in the gym. I think it cancels it out, and therefore you end up with a zero net effect. And that's what the research has shown. Yet Omar's standing here selling a pre-workout while putting Eric on, saying, hey, without the research backing a supplement, you shouldn't buy it. So essentially, you just killed your own sales, Omar, because no one should be taking pre-workouts. In fact, anyone pimping them, I've got to question your ethics at this point. But the interesting thing there is that he did go into the research, and he talked about research bias, and people need to be aware of that. They need to be aware of that with supplements. Now, people are going to say, Jason, are you saying supplements don't work? No, I'm saying I can think of 3 supplements that work off the top of my head. If you can benefit for whatever reason from more protein in your diet than protein powders, right? Those can work, context dependent. Creatine does seem to work for about 60% of the population. I take it because it's really cheap, even though I seem to be a non-responder. I spend about $1 a month on creatine because I buy it by the kilo off Amazon. So, you know, it's like $17, something like that. I take it because it costs me like $1 or $2 a month, and there's good data backing it. Actually, creatine is more backed than any other supplement ever by meta-analysis for showing a benefit. And even though I appear to not get a result, I'm banking on the fact that my $1 every month might give me a 0.5% benefit that's so small that I can't perceive it. So that's the only reason I take it. And then vitamin D3, particularly in the winter months, or if you live in a climate that's not ideal for your particular skin type, like if you have more melanin in your skin and you live in a darker environment, vitamin D3 can be very, very helpful. But you need to keep in mind a lot of foods are already fortified with vitamin D because the FDA and everyone else is aware of this already. They're aware of the health benefits there. So they actually put it in a lot of foods already. So you may not actually need the supplement depending on what you eat. You may not see much benefit from it. But, you know, and you look at it in that context, those 3 supplements, again, context dependent, they are useful. They do work. Anything else needs to be prescription. In other words, people will say, oh, well, I need this Iron supplement. Well, did your doctor pull blood work and tell you you need an iron supplement? Because you could have an absorption issue and what you're buying over the counter might not be what you need. And, you know, your medical insurance will cover prescription grade, pharmaceutical grade vitamin and mineral supplements that your doctor determines that you need. So anything else outside of that, you should probably be getting from your doctor or from a dietitian. I don't recommend that you self-medicate. Things like metals, like taking zinc or iron or stuff like that your doctor or a registered dietitian hasn't prescribed to you, I'm sorry, it is almost borderline mentally retarded. I'm just being honest with you guys. You're like, I'm going to supplement zinc because it'll boost my testosterone until you get a toxic amount, or it blocks your body's ability to absorb copper because you didn't need to add that zinc supplement. Don't add metals to your diet without consulting a doctor. I'm sorry, that is stupid, and that includes multivitamins. Now that I got that rant out of the way, let's kind of go back to the point. He talked about research bias, and Eric had a very, very valid point. Supplement companies will farm out research, and they're bad about doing this, and he said he recommends for an honest researcher, you don't take the money for this. Don't sign these agreements. But a lot of times when they want their products done, they will farm out to several different universities or students or whatever trying to work on their graduate work or whatever. They'll send them out to these different people, and they have to sign an agreement that they will not legally, since they're paying for the study, they won't let them publish it unless it shows a positive result for their product. And so they send out 3 different people, and 2 of them don't get a positive result, and 1 of them does. That's the one they publish. But you see the problem? If you send a supplement out to 3 different people to look for a positive result, and just one of them finds it because, you know, they tested in 20 people, and the 10 people who took it versus a placebo, they see a benefit, and the other groups don't. You guys understand statistically that was just random. It probably doesn't work. But as far as their data shows it works, they'll put out the research, they publish it, everything looks good. Well, you don't buy supplements based upon that. If you are, you're being scammed. The problem is that that's commonplace in that industry. It's commonplace in the supplement industry to do that. The other thing you have to remember is that once a supplement is shown to really work well, it usually gets outlawed. So that's the other thing. There is no actual incentive in the supplement industry to produce products that really work, because they know that if they produce products that legitimately build muscle or legitimately burn fat, what do we call that? That's called a drug. That becomes a controlled substance, and that either falls back into the area of research chemicals, right? Research chems, or it becomes a controlled substance in which you need a prescription to possess it. Because we have drugs that are prescription drugs that do these things already. That falls under the area of what the FDA calls a controlled substance. So they don't have a real incentive to make products that work. They rely on placebo. They rely on marketing for this industry because the laws in place don't allow them to make stuff that really works. And they oftentimes do it, and what happens? It gets outlawed. A lot of times companies get the loophole through. They'll develop products that they know are going to produce a result, but they know they're only going to be able to sell it for about 3 months. They're going to be able to kick it out for 90 days, maybe 6 months before the FDA starts looking at the peer-reviewed data and say, wait a minute, this is technically a drug. This builds muscle. This burns fat. This is a controlled substance. This is a drug. It actually does stuff in the body. Then they come in and they tell them they can't sell it over the counter for human consumption anymore, or they get fined $1 million. So there's no incentive for the industry to actually make stuff that works. They have incentive to make stuff that doesn't work and to hype it up and market it to you and have YouTubers and fitness models and bodybuilders and everyone tell you how well it works while it doesn't do shit, and they can continue to sell it for 5 years straight, because since it's not actually a drug, it doesn't actually do much of anything, they can keep selling it, and the FDA is not going to shut it down. And the supplement industry has a loophole from the 90s written into law that allows them to falsely advertise stuff that other industries don't have. They got it passed into law. So they can actually make false claims about products as long as they put a label saying that it's a false claim. There's a disclaimer the FDA requires, and as long as they put that on there, they can lie about what it actually does, as long as they put the disclaimer saying it doesn't actually do what they claim it does. As long as that's on the label, they're good to go. So again, problem with this industry. And what I recommend in general, outside of the 3 supplements I just told you, I don't recommend you take anything. I think anything else, you are being conned, you're being ripped off. It's a waste of your money. And anyone who's selling it to you is a snake oil salesman. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.